start a good show. Good evening, people. Today is the 31st of July, the last day of July. So many things have been happening, and Kiki's chat show is going to talk about them. Today I have a guest. My guest's name is Marion Clark. Have I said it right?
Yes, you have.
Marion Clark. Welcome to the show, Marion.
Thank you.
Marion is somebody who is full of knowledge and is also pursuing and always in the quest of more knowledge. Is that right?
That's correct.
Correct. Marion and I have a lot in common, and yes, we like knowledge, and we seek knowledge, and we impart knowledge when we find it, and continue to seek, and we talk about it, and, you know, etc., etc. People, I am happy to be back. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I wanted to talk about abortion, but strange things happened on that day, and our show was duly aborted, and therefore here we are today. But today's topic is the double standards in our society, and it is more the double standards that men, you know, perpetrate
That's
the word,
it, yeah.
upon women. Now, I'm gonna play a song. This is a new song that I just heard. I'm not very familiar with it, but I'm gonna share it with you, and let's see whether you like it or not. Yes.
you heard of Mabel Dav-Dankwa? Have you heard of a Mabel Dav-Dankwa before?
Hello, we're back. And as I said before, my guest is Marion Clark, and she's somebody who is on the quest for knowledge. She imparts her knowledge. She reads avidly. She's interested in a lot of things, as I am, so we get on very well. Today we're talking about double standards that is perpetrated in society, mostly by men on women. Anybody can call. I will leave the lines are open even now, and you can call us on 0208 670 7300. I will give you the number again as time goes on. Now, I'll give you a scenario too. I've got two scenarios. The first one is a lady was married to a senator in Nigeria. She then, he dies. And 5 years later, she marries her PA. And all the men who knew about it went ballistic because they felt that she must be having an affair. Women are wicked, fear women. How dare she marry the man, etc. Now, I'm not sure where their angle is coming from, whether it's because she married him, he was the PA, therefore they felt that she was having an affair with him before, or if for the fact that she's married at all. And as you know, men do worse. So how could somebody come on, on social media to say such things? What's your view on that?
Shocking.
Yeah, one word.
Yeah. I mean, 5 years later. 5 years later. It's not a year. It's not a couple of months.
No.
After the husband died, but 5 years later, is she not entitled to get married again?
Yeah.
I'm a bit. Why are they up in arms? Why the furore? Why are they angry? Is she not meant to have a life? The husband's dead. I'm sure she's, he will always have a place in her heart. But she's got to get on with her life, like the men do. And in fact, in a lot of cultures, before the body's, your wife is buried, you're probably presented with a woman to marry, or you've already found one. Or as some would say, even during the funeral, there's someone there.
No,
in the wings.
Normally, there's this millionaire who was in this country who said, the minute you divorce your wife or she dies, the mistress becomes the next wife.
Exactly.
There's always somebody in the wings. So it was disconcerting to read.
Yes.
And it was such a vicious piece of, with the picture of the woman and the man and all of that. Now, if it is true, it's such an affront that a man would dare to say such a thing, because let us, in truth, if there are many married men out there who the woman is not dead, he will, if the problem is the PA that the woman married, he will have, I don't know even if it's a affair, but he will sleep with the maid, the nanny. What's his name? Tiger Woods. He married the nanny, and then he had all these women on the side. The woman was still alive. These men will, have affairs with the secretary, the girl in the typing pool. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so why does somebody, and why is somebody even bold enough to come on air and say such a thing? It's crazy.
You would think we've made strides, but when things like that happen, it just makes you realize that the battle is still going on. Women still have to justify and explain, or almost as if she has to ask permission to do stuff.
No.
I don't understand. So why do men think that it's okay for them? And they joke about it and say things like, "Oh well, you can't have one soup forever.
One soup.
You've got to have different soups." Meaning, if they've been with their wife for years and years and years,
that's one soup.
Yeah. It's okay to go and try another one, and they think it's okay. But let a woman try that and say, "Well, I've been with you for donkey's years. I think it's time for me to sample another soup." She would be front page news, unheard of.
If the woman sampled another soup.
Oh yes.
Even for me,
she would be called all kinds of things, named, shamed, you name it.
It's so unfortunate though that we go through this kind of situation, and we're going through it even now. This is things that happened, we're in a new century. Is this the 21st century? I get confused even what century we're in, because it's just crazy. And the fact that it was a 5-year gap. Okay, now, there's another scenario. And anyone can call in if you want to call. It's 020-8670-7300. You can call us, challenge us, let us know how disgusted you are with our views, or if you agree with our views. There's another scenario where a woman meets a guy and they get on very well. Eventually, they go to the woman's house. They, after dinner, blah, 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 they start to get down to do all sorts of things. The woman brings out a condom. The man is aghast. He is shocked. He says, "What? A condom? A male condom?" And he just gets up, puts his clothes back on, and leaves the house. And he goes and tells his friends that the woman is a slut. Basically, he's slut-shaming her because she has condoms in her house. If she has condoms in her house, it means she's promiscuous and she's bad.
Who said only men can buy that?
Well, on social media, the argument was there, and some people were saying, well, she's bad because it was a male condom. There are female condoms. She should go and buy some female condoms.
Well, she's comfortable with a male condom. She's protecting herself. She's got choices. She chose to buy that because maybe that works for her.
And she doesn't know you.
Exactly.
This is a new relationship.
How dare he? How dare he? Well, good riddance, I would say.
I agree with you.
Because, one, she's being sensible, she's being careful, she's taking care of herself, and you, for that matter, if she's got something.
Why didn't he bring his own condoms?
Exactly.
What did he think he was coming to do? Read the Bible? Men should get ahead of this.
Well, to think he got angry. What's he angry about? I'm still struggling to think. What's he angry about? That somebody was smart enough to be careful and take measures? What's he angry about?
Don't know. He was angry because she was,
in this day and age.
Yeah, in this day and age, how dare she have, how is it that she has condoms in her house? If she has condoms in her house or her bag, it means that...
so she's not meant to have a say in what's going to happen.
Well, he should have the condom.
He's the one controlling things, so she doesn't know you.
It's a new relationship, therefore, she shouldn't, protect herself. Yeah, these are issues, and on social media...
Oh God, it's terrible.
On social media, it was a huge argument where some of the men were disagreeing, and some were agreeing with the man who walked out, saying, it is just so unholy, and
unholy.
I'm saying, unholy, and I'm thinking, unholy. You are both having sex outside of marriage, and you think it's unholy for the woman to have a condom? This is double standard, straight.
It's almost as if, there are situations where a man would go chasing girls, but can't stand the fact that some man will speak to his daughter or his sister It's exactly that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's still going on now. He will go and chase, you know, other girls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some probably as young as his daughter,
or even younger.
Mm-hmm. And then he catches someone talking to his you know, daughter, and then he goes ballistic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember some years back, there was this thing trending on WhatsApp about, you know, this Ugandan girl called Kasime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kasime,
yeah. And her husband's traveling.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's a comedy.
It's a comedy strip, yeah. But there was a message there. He decided not to go on the trip again because she offered him condoms and said, just in case on your trip you get tempted, you know, I won't be oblivious to the fact that these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So take that just in case and protect yourself. And then she decides, oh, actually,
Let's
leave
share.
me.
Let us share.
Share it.
Oh,
and it's
God.
like, what? Why would you want some? What do you need it for? Well, she said, well, for the same reason you need it. Accidents
Just
happen.
in case.
Just in
You know.
case.
But he couldn't bear the thought. He could go with the condom. In fact, when she gave him the condoms, he thought, wow, my wife is so
thoughtful.
lovely. And then she said, oh, let's share
Let's
it.
share,
You
actually.
have 4, and I will have 4. Then he gets upset.
Then he gets really upset and says, what for? But that's double standards. There you go. But she, you know, it's because this happens. She did that because it's something that happens, you know, and men can't swallow that, you know. A man would probably find that, will find his condoms in his daughter's bag, suitcase, whatever, and he would go absolutely ape, I'm sure, but wouldn't be so bothered if it was his son.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if it's his son, he would call him, he would congratulate him. He may even take him out to the pub and say, well done, my son, you know. Well done, you know. Yeah.
But can't handle it if it's his daughter, you know. And I don't know how we're going to go about, you know, changing that perception, that double standard. I mean, women's groups have been up in arms for ages, but we don't seem to have made much headway when you hear stories like this.
It's pathetic.
You know.
But, you know, there's so many other reasons why men, I think men are brought up by, you see, the problem we have is women. Women have brought up their sons with so much love and attention and, baby, they're forgiven so easily.
Yes.
They you know, and then for women, there is this tough stance about you have to survive. If you don't learn how to cook, you're not going to get a husband. If you don't do this, you're not going to do that.
You won't be
and
able
so
to cope.
you wanna. So there's such a and you know, women are so hard on their daughters, their nieces, their and all that, and men just get away with everything.
That's
No,
true.
in this day and age, there are men who don't do the washing up. Yeah.
Their ironing, they still take their ironing to mum.
Yeah.
To do the ironing and to cook for them and to do all sorts of things. You know, mum has to fold their socks and boxer shorts and all because they don't know how to. They don't know how to work the washing machine. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to make their beds, and it's still happening today. You know, you speak to people. You know, I speak to some of the students I work with, and I say to them, you know, what do you do when you're home apart from on your phone and, you know, doing some studying if you do? Do you wash up? Do you help your parents? No. Why would I do that? No, I don't do that. I don't wash up. My sisters do it.
Well, you see, men will not love this program today because we're actually bringing out a lot of truths. However, for this world to move on in a positive way for both the man and the woman, for all genders to have a balance where the female now goes to work and it contributes to things.
Exactly, yes.
And then you have some primitive husbands in this day and age complaining. Every problem is the woman's fault. Everything that goes wrong is a woman's fault. If the children are not paying attention in school, it's the woman's fault. If
they don't do well,
it's the woman's fault. Anything is the woman's fault. Men have female friends. They have female friends. They have friends who they have groups, men and women. They know she's just a friend. Blah blah blah. But if women had male friends, especially the married ones, there's problems in people's homes.
It's quite worrying, actually. Men think it's okay to have such thoughts, and they are rightly justified because they think, well, you're a woman. A woman is not meant to be like that. Who said that? There are some women who do very well in the company of men more than they do in the company of women.
Indeed. But, the minute you get married or you're in a relationship, there's so much problem with you going somewhere with a man. A man can easily fall on top of you, or a man, all of these things. So, no. It's not.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard of the pastor in Ghana who said something about...
Oh, the tribes.
The tribes.
Yes, I heard about that.
I mean, women are up in arms about it.
What did he say?
Well, I think he said, if you marry an Ashanti woman, she's going to... she's greedy, and all she's in the marriage for is to get property, and the mother is in a corner somewhere whispering things to her and telling her, go and get what you can out of the marriage. If you marry a Fanti, they're fools or something.
They're foolish.
Like that. They're foolish.
He said Fanti women are foolish.
And if you marry an Ewe, she's a doormat. And you say to his daughter that if you want to be successful in your marriage, then don't go and behave like an Ashanti woman. I mean, what's it all about? If a woman said that, I think the whole
male population
would come out and throw stones at her. They would. But I haven't seen men's groups and men who are married to women coming up, and one or two of them have come up to say, as there always is. But generally, I can't see a lot of men up in arms about how dare you insult our sisters, our mothers, our wives, all of that. That's not happening yet. I haven't seen that yet. Almost as if, well, it's a man, just leave him alone. It seems to me like that. Why is he saying that and the men are not up in arms about it? Because it's their mothers, it's their sisters, their daughters.
The number to call the studio is 0208-670-7300. If you want to join in, if you have a view, if you think that it's not the case and that women are more, the people who perpetrate the double standards on the men, or, etc. At the moment, it's the men who are the perpetrators in this studio.
The double standards.
The double standards is crazy. Now, there is this thing where, it's not that people want to have casual sex freely or anything. But then men are always, patted on the back. They go and tell them this girl, that girl, whatever, And yet they're a woman. She wouldn't even tell her friends.
No.
But no, because, it's going to be a whole different ball game. She will be slut-shamed. She will be gossiped about. She'll be whispered about. And, men would then be up in arms, and she may, never, ever get a steady... Everyone would try to take over, and she'll never even get a proper relationship because people want to take advantage because they've heard that. And yet there is this woman in Ghana called Mama G, who, I don't know.
I've heard the name.
Yes.
I'm not quite familiar with their stories, but I think, I've heard.
Mama G has set up shop, and she's selling
aphrodisiacs,
sexual potions, drinks, all sorts of little things, vials and tablets and whatever. And she boldly advertises on social media. She's got recordings of her selling it to people, going into her shop. They're very young girls as well.
Right.
Now, the thing is, men, she was even arrested and thrown into jail because she was a fraud and she was a witch, and the potions and the drinks and that was just totally unacceptable. The men felt they were being used, and some of her adverts were people saying, if you take this advert, if you swallow this thing, men will fall in love with you and they will buy you cars, etc., etc. Right. So men got upset and they, wouldn't have it. They felt abused, used, they felt tricked, and on and on and on. Now,
but it was for women to buy, was it for men to buy?
It was for women to buy, to attract the men and to use the men and to get money. Extortion, basically. Now,
so what were they up in arms about? The fact that their money would be...
Yeah, because they felt that the young girls were in love with them. They didn't realize that women were being extortionate. They didn't realize that the women did not love them, really, and that they were being tricked. So... There you have a situation where men don't want to be tricked. They don't want to be, but the pastors are doing it. The pastors are doing it. They're selling all sorts of things. You enter a bus in Ghana, these public transport buses, and there are men who have this
potions.
This one potion can cure syphilis, this, it will bring your husband back, this, that. If you
can't have kids.
It can wake your grandmother from the dead. If you can't have kids, you have triplets. And no one has ever challenged or arrested or, so this kind of thing is going on. This is an unfair bit of thing that is happening, and I don't understand it.
Because actually... I haven't seen a woman selling those potions on the buses before.
No.
It's almost always a man doing that selling. And I haven't seen anyone challenging them before.
Never.
Or
they either believe it and buy it.
They're happy to buy it, yeah. But then this woman... So, was it because Standards Board had checked and she was selling... fake things?
Well,
what was the reason for
you can
just
use
as what? I mean, because they feel that they're spending on these girls and it's not right, or what?
I don't know what it is, but
double standards.
Standards. It's double standards straight, and that is so unfair. On the part of.
It's the same situation you have with parents saying they're happy for their sons to go out and put someone's daughter in the family way, but not their daughters.
Well, you see, it doesn't affect the son at all. The girl has the child. She's in her house. She has education is cut short, etc., etc. In most homes, not all, and the boy just carries on.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, because obviously they can decide to say, well, our son says it's not him. They always have a get out of jail card in a situation like that. Whereas with the daughter, whether they like it or not, she's brought it home. It's there. Yeah. You can see it growing every day, and they're not thinking about the poor girl who their son's gone to put in that situation, if I should say.
Well, so I've got somebody here who says, is it just African men as is far spread more than African men? Of course, it's all men.
It's global.
It's global. It mostly African men do that, we know it, but it's probably global. It's
definitely global, but we're more confident about what we're talking about because we're seen
Africans.
It. Yeah, we're Africans, yeah. But it's definitely global. I'm sure it is the same all over the world. I mean, you go to a place like India, for instance.
Mm-hmm. It's same. I know. It's worse.
You know, I think the women pay dowry over there.
Oh,
That's
women
just a
pay
thing.
dowry and get married. Also, the situation, the imbalance and the unfairness and the hypocrisy is so bad that a lot of women, and I'm not giving figures here because I try to get some figures, but I haven't got them. They commit suicide.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, a lot of them
A lot
commit
of them do.
suicide.
Because it's an unbearable situation they often find themselves in, and they do. And I don't think they even have an exact figure on the amount of suicides that are committed, because some of them go through hell.
Do you know that in India as well, and this is true fact, and I researched it well, is that there was a time when a man died, they would cremate the woman with the man.
What?
Yes, they would, because who
You've
else?
got to accompany him.
Yeah, but if she doesn't, if they didn't do that to her, then she would be sent to a place where there were all widows,
Ostracized.
especially the really religious people. They send them to this camp or place, temple, and they stay there for the rest. Yeah, for the rest of their lives. Now,
That's sad.
it is really
Shocking.
sad. Now, people are educating their daughters to be all sorts of things: doctors, nurses, lawyers, whatever, scientists, engineers, whatever it is, captains of industry. And we talk about the glass ceiling where women can get to a point and then they can't go any further.
Yeah.
We also talk about the fact that when men devote long hours to their careers, then they're like, office rock stars, they're very smart, they're, but if a woman, she can't do that, especially if she's in a relationship or she has children, she's got to rush home and look after her kids. I remember somebody telling me that her sister-in-law was such a lazy girl because she's always working and she doesn't know, she can't cook, she can't do, in this time where, there was a time when this was a woman's job, the cooking, the cleaning and all of that. The man goes to work, he does whatever he does, whether before he was a hunter-gatherer, and then now he goes to office, that's fine. So the woman is at home, she looks at the kids, etc. But the situations have changed, and both of them have to go because their lifestyles are such that you cannot afford not to go to work. And if that is the case, then if you're both at home, everybody, all hands on deck, But you come home and you are sitting there reading the paper, waiting for her.
It's not one particular person's fault if things go wrong.
I mean,
there are two people in there.
I know.
2 adults.
I know. I'm always intrigued when I go into some homes and the man has cooked. I'm just like, oh my God.
I know.
Isn't it lovely? Oh my God.
I do that as well, I do. Double standards again.
Yeah.
A man has friends, female friends, who are very glamorous looking.
Oh, yes.
Dress very well.
Oh, yes.
The life and soul of parties, and he enjoys their company.
Oh, yes.
But I can tell you, I've seen situations where he can't stand to see his wife
On
and
the
his children, getting dressed and going out wearing the same things that he goes out and admires.
Indeed.
He can't handle it. He likes the feistiness of the female company he keeps.
Yeah.
But he can't bear it. He wants his wife to be docile, to be,
No. She shouldn't attract men. She can't be dressing and attract. Whereas his friend, or friends, they're smart aleckies and they're there looking gorgeous all the time. And, I was married to one who's on the phone talking politics with this woman, that woman. Can you imagine if I started that? God.
Well, you'd be called all kinds of things. You haven't got time to look after your home. You spend all your time on the phone. The accusations would be, a very long list. Otherwise, double standards again.
So, I mean, this is the hypocrisy of life. And this is where, women come up onto this earth, and one wonders what really women are supposed to do. Are we constantly supposed to be miserable, mousy, quiet? And, the minute you're a little bit feisty or a little bit, you've got a little bit, the men have problem with it, and then it becomes a whole, you're continually blamed, abused, maligned, misunderstood.
I'm actually wondering if I've ever heard of a story, or if it's something that happens. If a woman if a woman has more money than a man, and she's, built the home they've got, because she seems to have a thriving business, probably more than the man. If she dies, have you ever heard of a situation where her family throw out the man?
No.
And take over the house?
No.
That kind of thing?
No. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen,
the man,
does it?
I know a situation where I only found out a while ago. This woman she had businesses in Kumasi. She was doing really well. She had children, and somehow, she married this man after the children. She built her business, and she'd already had kids and everything. And then she dies, and this second husband takes over everything, and even doesn't give anything to the kids that she had prior to marrying him. She made her money before she met him. She made her money with these children, and it's horrible, and they're still suffering it today. Now, if this is what happens in life, and if this is what and yet should a man die, his family would come.
Exactly.
They would take everything.
She'll have to fight.
Be bullied.
Find a lawyer to take them to court.
Yeah.
And try to keep hold of what they both have worked hard.
Yeah. It's really difficult.
It is very difficult.
And this is hypocrisy. This is double standards again. You could marry a man, or you could be in a relationship with a man living in the same house, and on a Sunday he gets up and he may go out and buy the newspapers because
he's having a lazy day.
Yeah, he's having a relaxing day. He can wear the pajamas all day.
Exactly.
Now, if you did that,
no.
does that mean that there's not going to be...
Well, he's probably going to ask you, well, what's for dinner?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what are we eating today?
Yeah.
Why are you still in bed? Are you going to be in bed all day?
Yeah. A few months ago, there's this young couple, and they've been married for a few years, so I think they've got one baby. The baby was... I think the baby was one. Yeah. And they had a huge falling out. It was a huge issue, and they went to the mother, and the man went to complain to the mother because he had gone to complain to his mother, who went with him to go and complain to her mother, yes, that she's very lazy, and they come home and he's tired, he's resting, and then she also is, he has to prompt her before she gets up to make dinner. He has to prompt her to do this or that, and he feels that the child will suffer, and somebody needs to talk to. The mother is telling me, and I'm like, is it still happening? This is still happening in this present day life. What is he doing?
Yeah, what's he complaining about?
What is he doing?
Why? You see, women again, because his mother, as she said, accompanied him.
Yeah.
So why didn't his mother ask him? So what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
Why didn't you do A, B, C, or D? Why are you waiting for her? Well, carry on, do it. Is there a manual that says that?
Yeah. There is a manual that says that, woman, this is your job. You should, whether you work or not, whether you work outside or not, you should be looking after the family. You should make sure the children are fed. You should make sure your husband is fed. In fact, I think the men would prefer that you take a spoon and feed him with it. You know.
Well, I'd like to hear the men's opinion on this.
Yeah, if there's a man out there.
I'm sure a few of them will not be happy with us tonight.
No, not at all. 0208 670 7300. If you feel like you disagree with what we're saying, please challenge us. We're ready for you. But it's crazy.
Absolutely. And, well, we're going to keep on fighting double standards.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women give up.
They give up.
And because it gets tedious after a while. So they just give up and let it happen.
I'll give you another scenario. There's this story about a man who was married to this woman, and he had stated he'd said all the time that he wanted a God-fearing woman, a good woman who cooked and was very good in the kitchen and
homekeeper.
Yeah, good homekeeper. So he got one. She was a good girl. She was always going to church. She was, cooking and cleaning and doing all the right things. And one day, the woman found out that he was having an affair. A few years run down the line, she found out that he was. So she asked him, "I thought that you wanted a God-fearing, good woman who was." He said, "Yes, but that's what he wanted as a wife." And she said, "So why are you having an affair? You have a wife. You have the idea of what you want." He said, "No, and I also want a full-blooded, lovely, beautiful, nice girl." And
excuse me?
Yeah. So that is why he was having. The woman said, "Oh, I used to be a prostitute. I was very happy."
Well, if I knew that was what you wanted,
we could have been doing full-blooded here.
Well, I'd like to see what his reaction was.
Well, I wish I could see it too. I read it on the internet.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. She used to be a prostitute.
Wow.
I thought, oh my God.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I can just see his jaw dropping.
So, men always feel they're shortchanged. However, it's the double standards that they bring about, which is making them feel shortchanged.
I don't know why they think it's okay to do that. To think he actually said he wanted.
Yeah, that's what he wants.
He has an idea of what's good.
A good wife.
What's the definition of a good woman or a good wife? All these things he was saying. He wanted a housekeeper.
Basically. He wanted his mother to cook the foods that his mother liked. He wanted a housekeeper. He wanted a nanny. Yeah.
And whenever he wanted her, then be there, have kids for me, look after the house for me, and do all the things and then make sure you go to church as well, because he wants to see that. Yeah,
because their home has to be blessed. So the woman is going to bring the prayerful. He wants a praying woman, a good praying woman. And so if she doesn't want sex, that's fine. She's just praying and being good and looking after the kids.
And then he goes out.
And then he goes out, and has the fun. Whereas the woman was hoping for the fun.
Which is what I was saying earlier. They're happy. They enjoy the company of, outgoing, good time girls.
Yeah, yeah.
But they can't handle it.
No.
At the same time, they want it, but yet they can't handle it. I don't understand. I want it, but I don't want it. Is that what it is? I like the idea of that.
The thing is,
but in reality, I don't want to settle for that. Or what is it they want?
I don't know.
Often they say, men say things like, we don't know what a woman wants. If a man knew what a woman wanted, he would be, world famous. But we don't know what they want either, do we?
No, but we know. I mean, the thing is, women
because they want it and then they don't want it.
No, but women are different. Women are individuals, and there is no one size fits all. And so, if you have the person that you're with, you have to find out what the person wants. That's your job. To find out what the person wants, it's your job to be able to identify what is good, the dynamics for your family. And your family dynamics cannot be your parents' dynamics or your auntie, your uncle, or something written in a book. The actual, actual life is not like that. So these are the things. I mean, women are still not paid the same wages as men.
No, still no.
No.
I think it's going to take a long time before we reach that point where women are paid the same as men.
It's going to take a while. Also, there's this other thing where there was a research was done, wide research, scientific research, and they found out that women had a higher sexual drive than men. Now, that shocked men, that upset men. They're not going to like that.
What, did he upset them?
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is, I think women settle. And when they settle, they just take what they've got and try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
However, it's really difficult if you see a man who has a little, tool, and yet he's as pompous as anything. And in the beginning, it's funny, and then after a while, it gets, annoying. So you have women who are frustrated and angry and upset, and they've married the wrong man, and it's crazy. Yes. And yet men are not even aware of these shortcomings that they've got.
I think they think, well, what's there to complain about? I'm happy, I'm doing the job. And a lot of the time, women don't actually let them know that actually I'm making do and mend. I'm managing what you've got, but actually, if we're going to be frank, my dear man, what you've got falls short. I think a lot of men will be up in arms about that. What? Are you saying? But because he's never heard that before, he was never brought up from day one. So he thinks he's doing a marvelous job until the day he's told, actually, all these years you've not been doing a thing.
Oh, God. Why do women settle? I think the education, one of the things that is important about radio, television, social media, is that people need to educate each other. And women need to, men have very fragile egos, etc., etc. So women need to find ways of making men aware of what they want, and also they themselves have to help. If you're loving your son but not nurturing him and bringing him up to be self-sufficient and to be able to be, I don't want to say upstanding person in society, but to be able to even just live within his married life or coupledom or whatever it is in his grown-up life, he is not able to wash his own plate. He can't do certain things. He thinks somebody else should be doing it for him.
Which are basic things.
Basic
survival
things. Yeah, cooking, cleaning. Then, in this day and age where the dynamics have changed, women are working, it's too much. There's too much put on women, really, that it's getting out of hand.
It's true. And obviously, that then leads to mental health issues.
Mental health. That is true, because one of the things that is prevalent in Africa, actually, I'm not talking about the Western world, it's happening now, but I don't even want to go there. In Africa, a lot of women have high blood pressure, they have, and some are so stressed out that they have mental health issues. And these mental health issues are displayed in different ways. And when you say that, you know, women are constantly besieged, I think, you know, and it's sad, really.
Because a lot of the time women are left holding
the baby, the house,
everything.
Yeah.
You know, and they're meant to do all these things and then act as wives as well.
There is this thing where one of these women, I'm in a group, and you know, it's worldwide. And one of the women was saying that she walked into a mall, and she saw policemen all circling around a woman breastfeeding her child. And they were, you know, trying to stop her from it. She wouldn't. She just shut her eyes and kept breastfeeding. The child kept, you know, and there were a few other women fighting the policemen, saying, leave her alone, blah, blah, blah. And what was funny and sad at the same time was there was a huge advert of a woman in a, you know, wearing her bra, bikini and that. And she was practically naked.
Exactly.
And yet,
they're happy to look at that. Yes. That's more attractive to them.
And the policemen, they're so, you know, this is, are you engaging your brain to this whole thing? Because
double standards again.
I don't know if the woman intentionally chose that spot to make a point, but hello. It's just crazy.
You know, she should have just pointed at that board and said, look
so this woman who was talking, she said she was arguing, screaming her head off and pointing at the police were just adamant that this was just...
And isn't it strange that it was police men?
Men, yeah.
Not police women, police men who had circled her. You know, not one person thought of the fact that maybe she had a screaming baby who needed to be fed immediately.
No.
A baby doesn't know, wait until I find a good spot. A baby wants to be fed now.
No, did you know, though, that in this country, women used to feed their babies in the toilet? And John Lewis, the shop, decided that it was ridiculous that women had to go into the toilet.
Yes, but it's the most unhygienic place
would
to
you
be.
eat? Would you eat in the toilet?
Why should a baby be fed in the toilet? You know, but you look into it and you find that men make these decisions.
Of course, men always make these decisions. But where are the women? You see, women, you are being educated. So many women are educated. You know, we have to get into the situation where we're part of the lawmakers, and therefore this kind of bullying doesn't carry on.
And it should start from primary school.
It should start from primary school. And, you know, mothers, you've got to stop that you perpetrate this double standards with the way that you look after your children, this whole gender thing. If you want to be paid properly, and these are to women who are educated, who are outside in the workforce and are resentful about you know, the salary imbalance, they're resentful about all sorts of things, women who are aware that you can breastfeed under a Victoria's Secret advert and you will be put in jail and the advert is still there.
Yeah.
Come on, we've got to do something. The double standards has to stop.
It has to stop. It has to stop. We need to... because you often hear of, she's a professional and she can still cook and she can still do things. She's the perfect wife material. But you don't hear
a man.
You don't hear being said about a man that is a professional
and he can cook
and he can look after the baby. He can change a nappy while stirring a pot.
Changing a nappy.
You know, you don't often hear that.
There are some men who will change the nappy if it's wet, but they won't change it if if there's number 2 and never. You know, it's like, ugh, I can't do this. You know,
but who can take that?
Well,
women just get on with it.
That's true.
You know, nobody likes that, but you have to do it.
So
you know, so we look forward to the day when, it'll be the same standard for both men and women.
Yeah, no. I mean, a man thinks that he can make decisions in the home. A woman shouldn't be, because, a man thinks he can grow fat with a fat stomach, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, look, if I go out, the other day I went to a party, and this man with a huge stomach, and he kind of came up to me, and I said to him, no, I'm not even going to, stop it, I don't want to talk to you. And he said, why? And I said, because you're fat.
Why? He said, why?
I said, because you're fat. You've got a big stomach, and I think you guys seem to think that you can talk to me. I mean, just move back. And
I'm sure he couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, of course he couldn't, because,
he's never had that before.
No, but, I'm making a stand here. If a man can feel that I'm overweight and therefore he likes the skinny girl, stay in your corner.
Exactly.
Stay
I
there.
agree with you on that. Stay there.
Stay there, man. I haven't got time for this. Anybody got time for that? Nah.
Go away with your double standards.
Your double standards, you fat man. Oh my God. And this is life. And for us to be able to, make this stand, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it.
We have to talk about it. And hopefully this is not the first and last time we're going to talk about it.
No.
Because it's ongoing. So we need to talk about it and make people aware, that we want people to talk about it.
Yeah.
People should come and talk about it.
People, come and talk about it. I mean, the show is ended. We've got 3 minutes to go. Have you got any last words for this particular show?
Well, we will keep fighting.
We have to.
We will keep talking about it.
This is like Churchill making a speech.
Yeah. Women out there, join the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fight double standards. Let's be there for each other. Let's educate ourselves. And let's spread the word that it's not okay for them to have double standards.
It's not.
And the story of the first story, you told us about the woman who
had the condom.
No, her PA.
After 5 years. After 5 years.
It's quite sad, actually, when you think about it, to think that they're giving her unnecessary stress.
Oh, I think, women, if you find the man of your dreams, he could be your PA, your maid, your driver, your gardener, whatever floats your boat. Hit it,
Go for it.
Go for it, because if it's a man, he would do the same.
Think twice.
And, who knows? Why should you let your happiness go? Women are continually, making do, trying,
she probably
just
struggled
because
with it for a very long time before finally, what are people going to say and all that.
Maybe they were comforting each other, and then suddenly, boom, it became a love thing. Who knows? Who knows? So people, we got to go now. It's great to have you listening. I've seen all of you, Shirley, Edith, everybody. Michael, Aban, Mike, Nanayao, Sapong, everyone. Ajwa. Everyone. People, thank you for listening. We shall be back next week with something new. I'm going to play some music, but I don't know if it's going to be, because I've only got 1 hour. I can't even find my music thing. But stay healthy, stay strong. Life goes on. Let's look for painkiller. I don't know what painkiller sounds like. Yeah. It's 10 o'clock.
Are we done?
Abasima.
There we go. The second headphone is here.
Oh, you leave it there. Somebody, I think somebody
will come and take it.
Maggie, bye, Maggie.
Well.
And Atu and everybody else is on there.